syntax. Whenever I talk about syntax, we are talking about the order in which you must follow in order for a function to be actualized, or an operation to be actualized. Now, the lookup function here is first there's a lookup value. The argument is first there's a lookup value. Now, what is our lookup value? Our lookup value is the data we want to search for. You need to take note of this. Our lookup value is the data you want to search for. If there's no data to search for, then there's no essence of doing any form of lookup. So the data you want to search for is very, very important. Then the next argument is what is our lookup vector. So our lookup vector here now is the range in our data sets where we can find the data we are searching for.
Awesome. So you just said, so you just made one English there. Now let me jump in quickly, right? Muyo, I appreciate the fact that you are showing us the syntax. So we want to use the word syntax before we lose our audience to what syntax means. Syntax simply means what are you supposed to provide? For instance, you want to transfer money to somebody, right? You have to enter the person's account number, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
You have to enter the person's account number. Exactly.
Yes.
Then when you enter the person's account number, you enter the person's bank, you will then notice that the person's name shows up. So in a shape or form, the person's account number and the name, in that case, like a syntax that you must provide, right? You must follow that. You must enter the account number and the bank so that the name can be generated. Does that make sense to people? That's in this case like a syntax. Are we together? So what Muiwa is basically saying here is that if we are going to do lookup, there's a way you have to provide the data for Excel to find that value for you. And he used the word argument, right? What is argument in this case? Those values you are providing are what we call arguments. Okay? Those values you are providing are what we call arguments. In your bank application, where you are providing the account number, that's right there is an argument. The bank name is also an argument. Okay? So now let's go back to Excel. Let's not bring that our bank analogy into Excel. Miwa, please proceed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, yeah, our lookup value is the first thing. Don't forget why Prof was introducing us to calculate to formula and function. For us to be able to carry out any calculation is there, you have to start with your equals to. That is very, very important. If not, you'll not be able to perform any calculation. So now, the next is to type in your function. In this case, we want to look at our lookup function. Then once you have done that, Prof already defined the lookup function for us. So let me know what's going back to that. Let's just go straight into practical step. Open your brackets. Now, I have opened up the brackets. I can now follow the syntax, follow the order. I can enter my argument. So now the first thing is our lookup value. Remember I said our lookup value is the data I want to search for. The data, I've brought it out here. I've referenced the cell where the data is on cell I-15, followed by a comma. Then our lookup vector. So here in this case, our lookup vector is the range in that's your data, where you will the range in that your data set, where you want to search the data from and return the corresponding data. So in this case, these are data sets. I'm going to highlight that range. Remember, a range is selecting more than one cell in a Z. Once you select more than a cell in a Z, you have highlighted a range of cells. So I'm highlighting this range. That is my lookup vector, comma. So the next thing is my results vector. Your result vector now is that range where we find the result or the corresponding data I want to return. So in this case, I want to return date of birth. So I'm going to highlight the range of my date of birth. That's my result vector. Then I can now close my brackets and press enter. Now, can you see? Please, let's take notes. Forward Esther. Let's look forward Esther. And let's see if our result is wrong or right. Now, can anybody notice this? For Howard Esther,
Result seems wrong.
this result is wrong. Now, here I'm going to introduce you to the limitation of this lookup function. For us to be able to carry out a lookup function, our lookup range must be sorted in ascending order. That's the reason why we're having this result as a wrong result. Our lookup range must be in ascending order. So let's sort our lookup range. Let's make it in ascending order and let's see our results. Let's go back. Howard Esther. Can we see that our result is correct now? So we need to take note of this limitation. You need to take note of this limitation. If not, if you try to use this lookup function and you have not sorted your lookup range, not in descending order, but in ascending order, then whatever we do, we come up with a wrong result. Let me just do one more step. Let me just show us once more. Then if anybody has question, he or she can ask. So let's say I want to look for another person. Copy paste. Equals to. I can see that somebody is raising his hand. Just give me a second. Okay.
Okay. Some questions are already coming in, and I love the fact that someone says, "Let's come up. Let's do this again." And yeah, so
Okay,
it doesn't look like
that's
yeah,
what I'm
let's do this
already
again.
doing already. Yeah.
All right.
So now remember, your lookup value is that data you're searching for. It is highly important. Reference it, comma. Your lookup vector again is that range in your data set where you want to bring in a result from. That range in your data set where you find the data you want to search for. So in this case, is our employee's name. I've highlighted that range, comma. The next step is your result vector. Now the result vector is that column we want to return. That column we want to return. That's the result vector. The column we want to return, you select that range, then you can now close the bracket and press enter. So let's confirm. Laura Toda. Can you see that the result is correct?
All right. Let's discuss. I mean, there's some interesting questions coming right now.
Okay.
And I would love to, yes, the person that asked you to come again has actually given you a thumbs up, which means they got that. Now, someone says, when do we apply lookup? When exactly do we need to apply lookup? I think I'd love to take that, right? But I mean,
Okay.
Start, please. Let me hear you. When do you think we should apply lookup? When do we use the lookup function?
Okay, now.
Because the one has been very popular has always been VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, maybe XLOOKUP now, maybe index match. But when do we use lookup itself?
Now, first, from a practical experience, is what I make use of every day. From a practical experience. Now I have a data sitting somewhere. Okay, let's make use of, I have a data sitting somewhere. And I have another file where that I would like to match that data with. I have two data sets, data A and data B. Now data A is let me not say an incomplete file. Data A has some missing data in which I can find data B. Now, how do I bring in those missing components from data B into data A? Now, before I got to know about VLOOKUP, in this case, I will be doing copy and paste. In what I'm telling you, what I was doing maybe some 6 years, 7 years ago, I was doing copy and paste. Now, imagine I have thousands of data. Even thousands of data is too much. I have 50 data. I have 50 rows that I need to fill in this missing data. How am I going to do this within the space of, let's say, 5 minutes? It is highly impossible. So how do I match a data to another data? That is where the concept of lookup comes in. VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, lookup function generally will help us retrieve data sets from a particular data and drop it into the corresponding data set in the data you wish to merge it with. So whenever you have two data you like to match together, whenever you have a missing data or let's say an incomplete data somewhere, and the other data that will complete the missing data is sitting in another file or in another data, then it will be highly productive to use your lookup function to bring in these two data sets together. Have I been able to answer your question, please?
Awesome. But let me add to that quickly, right? Let me quickly
Okay,
add to
sir.
that. I think as well, the lookup function, for instance, the way I understand it again from Excel, being an Excel user, is the fact that Microsoft, being a tool that keeps improving on the applications from time to time, started out by giving us very simple lookup function. Like if you want to look for a value in a column, just one value in a particular column or row, and return value from another column or row, you can simply use your lookup function. All right. But you will get to see later on that the lookup function being the base, then we start seeing things like VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and the rest as advancements to that as people needs of users continue to increase. So lookup basically gives you one value from one column, returning value in another column, or one value from one row, returning in another row. Does that make sense? Now, you talked about, someone asked a question as regards to must our data be sorted? Must our data be sorted before we can use lookup? Before doing anything? That's the question. In other words, before doing anything, is it advisable to sort values first?
Depending on the type of the lookup function you're looking at. The limitation of this lookup function we are currently looking at is that our data must be sorted. That is the limitation of this current function we are looking at. But for subsequent ones that will be unraveled to us in a couple of minutes time, our data can be left whichever form they are. You don't need to sort it. It will still give you your results.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Sorry to ask, are you saying if our data is not sorted? Yes, you can use lookup, but your results, to answer the question again, if your data is not sorted and use lookup, the values would be incorrect. And you don't want the system just doing things on its own, right? Okay. Must the data be formatted as a table before you can perform lookup, Muyiwa?
No.
Good.
Capital no. Capital no.
You can use lookup for your results to answer the question. Is it possible to get the current information if we change the name from Howard to without repeating the same process? Okay, yes. Is it possible? Someone is asking, is it possible with
okay, without repeating the same process?
Name,
yes.
Exactly, without repeating the same process, yes.
Without repeating the same, change the name, right? Yes, without repeating the same process. Okay, let me just do this. Let's place the name on that. There's what we call reusing of formula. Now I have the formula on the row above. I can just copy it down using my autofill. Drag it down, and we have our results. So we just did that process again, just to recap. Basically, where we have thousands of data, we can't start entering the function for each row. No. Once you have for the first row, you use your autofill to fill up the subsequent row. Hope you have been answered, please.
All right. Let's then proceed then to okay. I think that should do it for lookup. I think for that questions we'll take it in the that should do for lookup. Thank you very much. If you are following so far, please let's see your reactions. Let's just make sure that we've not lost people. We've not lost people here. Okay, good. I'm happy to see that you are still following. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. That means people are still here. Can lookup be used in a pivot table? If yes, how can it be used? Okay, we'll answer that. Pastor Akintayo, I can see your question as regards lookup being used in a pivot table. Yes, that will be addressed. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Okay, then let's proceed. Let's move. Let's take it a notch higher. Okay. So the next level right now is on VLOOKUP. I mean, Muyiwa, you were talking so far about lookup, and we are telling our people that it's possible to get even better use of lookup. And people are very conversant. People know plenty things, or people have heard of VLOOKUP at least. At least.
Yes.
So let's talk about this VLOOKUP briefly, right? I'll just share my screen and let's look at what VLOOKUP looks like.
Okay.
Okay, introducing VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, and the meaning of VLOOKUP in this case is vertical lookup. Okay, vertical lookup. What does that mean? Go through each row line by line and find the value that I'm looking for. Muiwa just gave us an example right now of lookup, where he says return. Lookup is like the simplest possible way to look for a value and return another value, right? You don't have to overthink. You don't have to over engineer it. You pick the value you're looking for, select the range you want to look for it in, and return the value you want, show the value you want to return. Lookup does that one for you easily. But there have been cases whereby you want to return 1, 2 different values from columns far away. That's when VLOOKUP was introduced. VLOOKUP helps you. VLOOKUP is quite powerful, and I don't know, my data analyst in the house, if you have been using any of these lookup functions, which one have you used the most? When you are from your experience, which one have you used the most?
Yeah, up to today, VLOOKUP the most.
Up to today, say
VLOOKUP.
VLOOKUP. Yeah.
VLOOKUP.
Now, the reason for VLOOKUP is because that guy is a lifesaver. It is simple to use, it is easy to understand, and it is a lifesaver. When you are dealing with more than one row of record, you want to fetch data from multiple rows of record, you want to find something that your eyes cannot just easily look through large set of data to find. Lookup is the guy for you. You have a product list and you want to return the name. Yes, the concept of lookup still remains the same, but the how right now is where VLOOKUP comes into play. Are you with me? The whole thing we're discussing today is about VLOOKUP and index and match and all of these guys. It's about lookup, okay? But the how right now, you will get to see how powerful VLOOKUP is. For instance, we talked not too long ago about your data must be sorted when you are doing lookup. Now come and see how VLOOKUP handles that same challenge. Okay, so I'll hand it over to Muiwa at this point in time to discuss with you VLOOKUP. If you notice, the context, the syntax is looking different. We have the lookup value, we have the table array, we have the column index, and the range lookup. Please listen attentively. We're going to break down each of these steps so you know what you're supposed to provide there. So it is not hidden, it is not a mystery. You get to know when I enter my VLOOKUP, what do I enter first? What do I enter next? What do I return next? So Muiwa, take it away from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So please confirm that you can see my screen. Can we see my screen, please?
I can see your screen, Muiwa.
Okay, good, sir. Thank you. So now, want to show us. Now, you said earlier, there's a limitation with lookup function, which is our data, our lookup rate must be sorted. So let's take notes that here now our employee name column is not sorted in ascending order. It doesn't stop us from carrying out our VLOOKUP. So now let's take a look at our syntax. So by now we are conversant with what our lookup value is, which is the data I want to search for. Here now, after our lookup value, what is the next argument to provide them? Is our table array. So your table array is that data set where the data I want to search for is and where the result also is. The data I want to search for is there. The result you want to return is also in that table. So then the next argument is column index number. Now with VLOOKUP, you have to select or you have to highlight from your search range so where your result range is. Please take note of that. You highlight from your search range to where your result range is. And as you are highlighting, please be taking notes of the numbers of columns you have highlighted. Your search range is your column number 1. Then depending on the column where your results is. So your search range column number, if your result range is on column F, for example, it means A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then after your column index number is your range lookup. Now, in most cases, where in most cases when we run a lookup function, we want to return exact match. But there are cases in which we like to return an approximate match. We will see that after treating that of exact match. So without wasting our time, let's practicalize.
Okay, let me jump in there quickly, right? So that we are also on the same page. Muiwa is going to showcase this to you. Now, Muiwa, please enter the equal to. I want us to build it together, right? So what Muiwa is basically saying, right, I don't know if I use the word. Let's not use Excel language. Let's not use range, right? Let's not use the whole column and the rest. What Muiwa is saying in essence is, you see where that employee name is. I'm looking for employee, right? I'm looking for this employee's name, which is Zamora Jennifer, right? I'm looking for this employee name, and the date of birth is in another column, DOB, that's column E. Between column A, which is employee name, and DOB, we have column B, which is employee number. There's a gap, really. There is state, there is zip code, and there is date of birth in between. Meanwhile, is saying with VLOOKUP, you can return any value you want from that employee name up until date of birth, if that is what you want. And you can continue to return as many other columns that you want going forward. Okay, so when Moiwa says an array or a range, something like that nature, what it means is this data set that you're working with, okay, from start to finish, from the first column A to column E, where you have the date of birth, which is where he's going to get the data from. You can see that you will see how he's going to go about it right now. The way he's going to go about it is going to be slightly different from what we did in lookup, slightly different. So please pay attention, okay? And if it's not clear, if it's looking like there is some magic in there, please call us out, ask the question, and we'll address it. So Muiwa, please take it away from there. Let's start from the lookup value. What are we looking for?
Thank you very much.
This is how I explain it. What are we looking for? What is that value we're looking for? That's the first thing you should enter in your VLOOKUP. Okay? So please, Muiwa, let's select what we're looking for. VLOOKUP,
so now,
let's select what we're looking for. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Our lookup value, that data I want. Select it, reference your cell, reference the cell, comma. Now our table array. These are our data. We want to return date of birth. So I'm going to highlight from the lookup range. Then you click and drag your mouse. So your result range. So as you can see, I've highlighted the employee's name. My date of birth is not on the second column. I need to continue highlighting. It's not on the third. I need to continue till I get to my date of birth. That's it. I'm done. I've highlighted from my lookup range to my result range. That's what make up our table array. Now, the next thing is enter your comma, your column index number. Now, from my lookup range to my result range, how many columns have I highlighted? A, B, C, D, E. We have highlighted 5 columns. The reason why we highlighted 5 columns again is because our date of birth is on the 5th column. If it is on the second column, we don't need to stress ourselves to the 5th column. We highlight to where your results is. You highlight to the column accommodating your results. So now our date of birth is on the 5th column. You enter 5 as your column index number, then comma. Now we are now on our lookup range. Do we want to return an approximate match or an exact match? In most cases, we like to return an exact match. In some rare cases, we like to return an approximate match. We are going to take a look at both. But for now, let's take a look at an approximate match. Sorry, an exact match to return what is actually the date of birth of Zamora Jennifer. So you can double click on this option or you type 0 for an exact match, whichever is preferable to you. Then once you have done, you close the bracket and press enter. Now let's confirm our results. Zamora Jennifer. Can we see? Zamora Jennifer was born August 30th, 1979. So I did not have to sort my lookup range in ascending order. This is why your VLOOKUP is better than your lookup function. Any question for me, or let me quickly go over it just once again? Let me just quickly go
I
over
think
it
we should
once
do it once
again.
again. I agree
Let
with
me
you. I
go
think we
over
should
it
do it once
once
again.
again.
Let's take another person's name.
So
Let's take another person's name.
let's make
Please, are
use
you
of
following? Don't let us wrap this in some shroud of mystery. Are you following what is going on here? Is it making sense to you? Is it simple enough for you to understand? Please,
let's
okay, I can
have a
see thumbs
thumbs
up
up.
coming in. But if you didn't understand it, please let's come again. I like the person that said let's do that again. I appreciate that. So let's do that one more time. We're going to do it one more time. Pick another person's name. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very
to
much. Let's do that one more time. Yes.
So equals VLOOKUP. Your lookup value, the data I am searching for. So don't be confused by that terminology lookup value. Just say within yourself the data I am searching for. Comma, my table array,
Where am I
where
searching for it?
the data, where the result I want to return and the data I want to search for, where can I get them? That's where we have our table array. The data you want to search for is sitting somewhere else also. Then the result is your result is against that data, is on that same row of that data. Where can I get it? That's a table array. Go there and highlight it. You highlight from your lookup range. You highlight from your lookup range. Don't stop highlighting until you get to your result range. I want to return date of birth. I'm not going to stop at employee number. Don't stop highlighting until you get to your result range. So as you're highlighting, you can also take notes. Instead of you counting manually, that was what I used to do some 2 or 3 years ago. As I'm highlighting, I'll be counting 1, 2, 3, no. As you're highlighting, take a look at your cursor as you're moving it. It is counting the row for you. Take a look at your cursor as you're moving it. It is counting the row for you. So you can see we are now on row 5, on column 5, sorry. So I can enter my command. So we highlighted our date of birth is on the 5th column. I'm going to enter 5, comma. I want to return an exact match, not an approximate match. So I'm going to enter 0. I can now close my bracket and press enter. King Janet, 9th September 21st, 1954. Any question for us? Any question for us? Any question for me?
So Muyiwa, something I think we should showcase immediately then is, since we already have DOB within the range, can we return the zip code for King Janet?
Okay,
Let's just return the zip code for King Janet without changing so much. Yeah.
Okay, without changing so much. Okay, let's assume we want to change this to zip code. Assuming you want to change this to zip code. Now, your zip code is on column number what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Column number 4. Now, come into your formula. You can either double click the cell or go into your formula bar. Now, go to where you have, go to your column index. Your column index number, go to that position, then change it to your zip code is sitting on column number 4. Enter 4 and press 0. Janet, that's zip code 1902. 1902. The data successfully been carried out. Are we following? Are you with
So Muiwa, do
us?
you want to take that? Do you want to take that one more time? I think
Okay,
you broke up a little. You want to take that one more
okay,
time so that
okay.
you can
Sorry.
see why we changing the column index number particularly,
Okay.
right? Because
Now,
we said we should get to the point where we got the result from and stop. But now I didn't stop at zip code, but I got to date of birth, and you're asking me now to go and select number 4. Why? Are you
okay.
saying that VLOOKUP permits me to select do as I like?
Now, the reason why we are able to just edit to 4. Now, the initial function, the initial step we did was we highlighted to 5. As we all know, 5 is greater than 4, so we must have gone past column 4. Assuming we want to return gender, as we wanted to return gender, and initially we stopped at what is it called? Stopped at column 5. Now, if I enter column 6 for gender, you can see you just saw what happened. Let's assume I wanted to return gender, and I have stopped at date of birth previously. Then I say, okay, let me change it to gender. You can see that it could not provide us the result for gender. It's telling us reference. The reason for this is because we did not, our table array is not covering the gender column. Our table array, we did not highlight onto the gender column. So that's the reason why gender can't come up. But in this case, we can enter 4 because 5 is greater than 4. We highlighted our table array up to the 5th column. So that is why we easily change our column number from 5 to a figure less than 5, which is 4, because we have highlighted all those columns initially. Then I can press my enter again. Hope I've been able to answer that.
So what happens when the value does not exist?
Now, when the value does not exist, now let's say, for example, let me search for my date of birth. It is not existing. It is not existing. Now, this is a current limitation with this is one of the current limitation with VLOOKUP. This is one of the current limitation with VLOOKUP. Now, this value does not exist. I need I need a result to be returned. I need a result to be returned. This value does not exist. Now, except I want an approximate match. If I want an approximate match, I can just okay. I have another sample for us for there, but now let's assume
So, but this is
for
what it
here
returns to you, right? It gives you any when it doesn't find the
is
value, correct?
when just find the value. But if I like to return something, if I like to return a text in replacement of that any, I will just have an additional function. I don't want to return an approximate match here now, but my result is showing me any,
Okay.
and I would like to have something in replacement of that any. I can just add an additional formula, which now in the another form of lookup function that we look at, it already covers this. But since the question has been raised, it would be nice to answer the question. I just have an additional formula, which is it's a logical formula known as if error. Now, this is an error thrown up to me. So I would like to replace that error. Now, so I'm going to say, okay, so since there's an error, whenever an error is found, replace it with, okay, the person is not, let's say, not a star. As in
Fantastic.
case you're asking why my not a staff is in quotes, it's because this not a staff is the text, is in text. That is why I
Okay.
need to and enter.
Okay.
That's
All right. So, Muiwa, thank you very much for introducing a new function there. I hope my friends on this call have not gotten lost at that point, but we would do well to introduce more about if error later. Now, but let's address some of the questions that can we go back to the NA part of this? let's address some questions that someone has brought up here. One person asks, what happens then if the data that I'm looking for, that's the lookup value, is not in the first column? What
Mm,
happens?
that's now aside the limitation of when your data is not found, it returns NA. Now, when your data is not in the first column, lookup function does not look right to left. It is just, it can only look forward. It can only look forward. It doesn't look backward. It doesn't look right to left.
So that is a
So
limitation in
that
essence
is
for
a
lookup, right?
limitation. That is a limitation
So
for
we should keep
lookup.
that guy for X lookup then.
So we have to make that will be covered by another form of lookup function.
Okay, good. And the reason I brought that up is because the concept of index match, which we'll get to very shortly, and the concept of X lookup
Let's look up.
is addressing some of these things that you are just asking. What happens when the value I'm looking for is not in the first column?
Some
Whether
of
to
us,
rearrange everything.
sorry, sir, some of us, if maybe some of us that some let's say some people that are lazy in using X lookup, well, X lookup or index and match, what they will do is just they cut
Change the column. Change the
they
column,
cut
right?
it, yes, and take it back so that we can actually force our VLOOKUP to go.
Okay, that works too. But there's not every data set you'll be able to do that in, right? Because there are some data sets that are supposed to remain the way they are because that is how the business needs
Yes,
to use
yes,
it. Do you get? That solves your
yes.
problem, yes. What Muiwa just said right now solves your problem, yes. But note, that is not
That's
the only
not
way
the
to solve the
idea.
problem going forward. There are more flexible ways now of solving that problem, which is why joining this particular session today is going to be beneficial to you. Okay. Now that is for VLOOKUP. Someone asked a question here then. Why are you having zero? Where is zero coming from? In that your formula, where is zero coming from?
Zero. Okay.
Yes. Why didn't you know it's
Remember
false?
in
Why
our
you zero? Yeah, I think
remember in
you are,
our range
you are
lookup.
working for yourself at this point, right? Why is zero there?
Okay,
Explain.
remember in our range lookup, I said we have either true to return an approximate match or false to return an exact match. Now, your false is the same thing as your zero to return exact match. If I enter one, it is the same thing as my true to return an approximate match. So I can decide to use either to use false or either to use zero. It doesn't change anything. It's still the same thing.
So we can use false to represent, we can use zero to
We
represent
can use
false.
zero to
We can use
represent
one
false,
to
one
represent
to
true.
represent yes. Yes.
So Adele Adepoju, I hope that answers your question as regards to why we are using zero. Where's zero coming from? Is because false can be replaced with zero and true can be replaced with one. Then somebody asked a follow-up question. Then why then do you have what can you explain the difference between exact match and approximate match? Since you're already here, can you quickly take us through that
Okay,
in
now,
VLOOKUP?
so since that question has been asked, now let's take a look of in a typical case where we can use an approximate match. Now, for example, in school, if you fall within a particular range, you'll be you'll be graded as pass, or you'll be graded as, if you fall within a particular range, you'll be graded as a first class student. Now, let's say I am a lecturer, for example. Now, I have the student results, then we have our range to pick who is on pass, who is on third class, who is on first class, who is on second class. Now, please take a look at this. Look at our range. You can see we just have 1, 2, 3, 4. But look at our results: 2.4, 3.5, 2.3, 4.01. That is not within our range. That is not, they are not on our range. They are within, but they are not on the range as it is, as we have it here. So now, if you are going to use exact match, then all of these ones that are not here will come up as NA. Let's just quickly look at before I now take us to exact match. They will come up as NA. They will come up as NA. So you can see 2.49 is not here. 3.5 is not here. 4.5, 4.45 is not here. So in this case, now we need, they fall within a particular range. 2.49 fall within 2 to 3. 3.4, 3.5 falls within 3 to 4. So that means they should be graded. They should not come up with any, they should be graded. So you use an approximate match to return data, to return a lookup value that is not within your table array. These are table array now. You use your approximate match to return the nearest value, the nearest value. So now, to do that, let me start from the beginning. And I look up
I think we
value.
should leave it there. Let's leave it there. Let's leave that one as the exact match. Let's create another column that shows us the approximate match, so we can see side by side what exact match looks like when you have something like this, and what approximate match looks like. So you can then decide how you want to match your own data going forward. Okay?
Approximate.
So the way approximate match works, and for the person that asked, I can't remember the name now, is it gives you the largest value that is lower than the number or the value you're looking for. Okay, let me take that again. It gives you the high in the thing you're looking in, the area you're looking for. It gives you the highest value that is lower than what you are currently looking for, than your lookup value. Okay, so Muiwa is going to show you an example of that quickly using this case of this CGPA approximate match. Please go ahead.
So because we look up our lookup value, we are not new to that again. Our table array, comma, our grade is on column 2. So now, why am I not going to enter 0? Why am I going to enter 1 for true for approximate match? Because I need to return the closest, largest value. So, close the bracket. So, can we see now? 2.49. It is not on this our lookup range, but it falls within this range of between 2 to 3. So it falls between 2 to 2.9 rather. So you can see, so whoever has 2.49 is a third class student. Second class, we don't have 3.5 on our range, but it falls within 3.0 to 3.99 before the next range. So it's going to be given the second class honor. So that is how to make use of your approximate match to check within a range, so that wherever the figure falls, it can pick up the corresponding column. Hope you understand.
Interesting. I mean, are the questions coming in? Okay, someone says no. Abdul Karim, it's not because of the decimals, right? The case here is when you're usually looking for exact match, it looks for the value exactly, and in the case where it doesn't match it, it returns NA. Okay, but as you can see with the likes of approximate match, we can get the largest value that is closest to what we are currently looking for. Okay. So somebody asked a question here, though, and I would love for us to address this quickly, Muiwa. What then happens when you have the same value you are looking for? Because this is a typical thing. This is what happens many a times. In a record set, the records are not necessarily, the value you are looking for is not necessarily unique, right? So employee names, I mean, we can have the same person bearing Muiwa in the same organization, right?
Okay.
What then happens with VLOOKUP, and what should everyone on this call look forward to in other functions? What happens when VLOOKUP, because VLOOKUP of course does something. What does it do when you have the same value appearing twice?
Okay, now VLOOKUP at default picks the first data. If I have 2 names, VLOOKUP is going to return me the data for the first person. If I have 2 Roberts, for example, VLOOKUP is going to return me the data for the first Robert. So this is one of the limitations we have currently with VLOOKUP, which a function like XLOOKUP has taken care already. So once we have duplicated lookup value, only the first data will be returned. So that data it returned for the first person will now be given to the others. So for example, let's say Robert here now, as let's just assume here there's another Robert with okay, sorry, and it is not linked to Robert. So let me say, okay, let's do this. Let's say Robert, just to run a quick test. Now I want to look for Robert's results. So equals to VLOOKUP Robert. Now so can we see? So it's returned. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
So it's returned for the first Robert 2.49. Why it's neglected the second Robert who has.
So in other words, it is recommended that whenever you're doing your VLOOKUP, you are looking up values in a place where you have unique values. That is one. Or you find a way to get a unique value to search with. Recommended. Recommended. I think we should put it that way. Recommended. That's not what is always going to happen, but as a recommended way to go about that in VLOOKUP. Are we speaking the same language?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. But I also need to mention though, when the same thing you just talked about, right? And I'm glad these questions are coming up here from business users and other users of Excel. The truth is that this experience you're having is what we are always having with data and the rest, lookups and the rest. What's with the XLOOKUP function, right? You have so many of these things being answered. That's why I would encourage you to sit and wait for the XLOOKUP part as well. Don't give up on these ones here too. These are till today, I don't use XLOOKUP as much as I use VLOOKUP.
I rarely use XLOOKUP.
Because VLOOKUP does the job for me. Do you understand? VLOOKUP does the job for me, and I think the same thing for many of us. But there are some certain cases like returning multiple values, which is this question that you're asking. What happens? VLOOKUP will return just the first one, but see what happens in XLOOKUP. When we get there, we'll discuss that briefly. How to return the multiple values when we get to XLOOKUP.
Then okay? also we need to take note that some people are restricted to VLOOKUP because they are not privileged to use Excel 2021 Office 365. So it is on a newer version of Excel. Except you have access
Google Sheets, you have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except you have access to Google Sheets.
Good. Someone has requested that you explain this approximate match one more time, just for the sake of posterity. Okay, just explain it one more time. Explain the function so that we can go on to the other functions. Thank you.
Now, in a case where I have a result that can be found on our lookup range, but I will like that result. I like that result to have I like a value to be returned for that result. Now it can't be found on the lookup page, but I would like to add a value to be returned for that result. Now approximate match is going to return the largest value that is lesser than the lookup value. 0.9, yes. It's going to return it to us. Now, so in most cases where for example, you are a salesman, you want to calculate sales commission so that you know how much you earn at the end of the month. This is a case of approximate match. Aside from student result that we're looking at, that's a good case where you make use of approximate match also. So now, return your lookup value, table array, a column index. Now, your 0 or your false is going to still return exact match. And as you can see in the case of this column, our exact match returned ending because 2.49 can't be found on this lookup range. But it is still within 2.49 is still within 2.0 to 2.99. It is within this range directly. So the approximate match will work for us to return the closest value. So now 2.49. So instead of entering false or 0, I've decided to enter 1 or 2. So 1 or 2 gives us our approximate match. So doing that, I see 2.49 returns third class for us. Third class is within 2.0 to 2.99. I see so from 3.0 to 3.99, that's another range for second class. You see 3.5 can't be found there. But choosing an approximate match, you get the class of results that person should have. Hope that question has been answered.
While we wait for further questions, I think it's time for us to build on the knowledge that we have. Please, if you are still with us, right? Like, I know we've been speaking some grammar, nobody has been making comments. Can someone just unmute their mic and tell us how it has been so far for them? Just one person. Please don't shed tears. I can see the thumbs up, but can someone just quickly unmute their mic and tell us how it's been for them so far? I can tell you, yes, go ahead, please.
Please, it's been a good experience so far. However, I have a question based on what Mr. Miwa pointed out earlier. I thought you said VLOOKUP looks from left to right, and I noticed that the values we've been using as our lookup value, the columns were starting at the very first column. I mean, they were the very first value in terms of our range. Now, this time around, as opposed to having grade in the at the start of our search range, we have it in the second column, which is a little bit different from what we've been doing so far. I mean, for the lookup values, they've been the very first column that started our search range. Do you think that does that really not matter at the end of the day? Because you said it look from left to right.
Yes.
Good question. Good question. Thank you very much, Akintayo, for that.
Our range. Look at. See. Our range. No, our grade is our lookup value. Our range is where we are going to check if we are looking from left to right. So even I think I understand your question, but even if let's assume let's assume I have something else before I range. Let's just assume this is what I have before I range. As far as we are still looking, we are not looking H to G. Let's take a look at it. H to I. After H is I. We are not saying H to G. If you have said H to G, that means we are looking right to left, we are looking backward. That would not work. So we are looking forward. So it can be B, C, D. It can be D, E. It can be F, G. It shouldn't be F, E. It shouldn't be E, D. So we are looking forward that way. It doesn't matter the position where your search data is on your table. Your search data can be on column K. As far as the result you want to return is after your search data, we are good to go. The result you want to return should not be before your search data. The result you want to return should be after your search data, and not before your search data.
So, in other words, what you are saying then is that it doesn't matter the value I'm looking for. That's my lookup value. It doesn't matter where that guy is, right? My lookup value is the first item in the syntax. It doesn't matter whether that
It
is,
does
which
not
is what
matter.
I think I was asking. Whether it's
It
in the
does
first
not
column or
matter.
the other one, it doesn't matter
It
where the lookup value is coming from. But what
does not
matters is that in the table array, where the
Right.
result is coming from, right?
Yes.
That column you're looking for must be the first column. So in this case,
Okay, first
range
column.
is the first column here, which we're looking for grade in the range. If that
Yes.
doesn't make sense. We're looking for grade. I can help you. Can you make some can have the conversation quickly?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we're looking for grade in the range. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So in the table where we're looking for in the range, remark, and the rest, range must be the first column at that point in time. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. I hope
Thank
that
you very
clarifies
much.
that for
Yeah,
that person. So
yeah, better. Thanks.
awesome. Meanwhile, your opinions are coming. I want to say great clarification. So thank you very much for
Thank
that.
you very much.
So without further ado, I love to crave your indulgence. I mean, we see. I feel like we should do part two. I don't want us to do part two. Who's in support of part two, or we should just continue? Which one do we do? Because I know it's time already 1:30. Which one do we do? Should we take a vote? And should we continue, or do we do a part two? We're not going to VLOOKUP. It's people are giving thumbs. I don't know what the thumbs up is for. Continue or part two?
I
Continue or part
think
two? Continue.
those should be good for. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one do we do? It's getting interesting. It's getting interesting. Okay. Because I know we promised to round up this session at 1:30, and we've gotten you to the point where we wanted to get you with respect to VLOOKUP, right? And we want XLOOKUP. I also want to share XLOOKUP with you. I also continue. Okay, I think we should take a quick survey. If for part two, kindly indicate by raising your hand. If that person's hand is down, we'll take it to be that you want us to continue now. So if you're for part two, right? If you have a significant number of person, it's really a part two something, no? Okay, let's see.
We have part two, we have 9 currently. Raise your hand. Use the raise hand button. Okay, we have 13 persons. Are there more? 14. 15. Okay, 17. Okay. So 18. All right. We have 8. Okay, we have 19 now. 19 persons want a continuation at a later time.
Okay, we can just do next week. We can do immediately next week, so we don't keep. We can just put it for next week immediately.
Okay.
And the number of people that raise hand for second part is really increased. I mean, that's a lot of people already.
That's 19.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's 20 already. I'm almost half of the class today is going for that. Okay. All right. So someone said, and she was listening as much as interesting for me to continue. You also want to respect the time that we have committed to, right? We already have a good. I mean, you guys have taken time to come here today, and we want to respect your time. I want to continuously. This is what we love to do every day. This is what we love to do every day, right? It is what we love to do. So, we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose half of our audience already. We don't want to lose half of the audience just because of time reasons. So, I think what we should do at this point in time, Kingsley will at least confirm that we are okay with this too. What we can do at this point in time is to push for a different immediately next week Saturday, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense, right? Okay,
Yes,
so it's been a pleasure. I mean, what we love to talk about at this point is, I mean, who we are.
Somebody is asking the video was recording.
Is that we can apply for?
Okay, good. This session has been recorded and it's going to be available to you today. It's going to be available to you later today. We're going to make it available to you too via Commander Academy classroom. Okay. So what is Commander Academy? We are a marketplace where we make skills available, like skills like this: Excel skills, business skills, digital skills, tech skills available to people who are ready to learn them. So we encourage you to visit Command Academy today to find out new skills that you can learn. Visit commander.academy/register to get on board a new skill today, and we're more than happy to take you on board. And if you're interested in learning a particular skill, please drop your name and email in the chat box. We will take that up and reach out to you privately on registering for the next class. You can use the chat box to talk about what you want to learn: Excel skills, a Power BI skill. We have digital marketing skills that you can learn as well. We package them in 6 weeks to 8 weeks program. You can learn and get, you can continue with your job, learning weekends, and become a professional in these skills. So we have a great rating for people who have attended these classes like this before. As you can see, time is not usually our friend when it comes to short webinars like this. We would love to teach you more, take you through these particular sessions. Meanwhile, available, Kings available. We have a range of other professionals like them who will take you through these skills. So please, if you're interested, drop your name or the program you want to learn and your email in the chat box. We'll take it from there and we'll reach out to you.
Interested in Power BI.
Interested, good. Very good, very good. Or you can visit commander.academy to find other programs that you can register for. I also love to use the opportunity to talk about our partners. Resta is a community of salespeople, marketing. So you can just call a salesperson, a data analyst, a marketing person, a customer service professional. Now, there's a community where you can join, right? And Resta focuses on building skills. Networking is a great place to network, and we at Commander are proud partners of Resta. We currently collaborate with Resta in generating in lessons like this, in workshops. But you need to be in the Resta community to see what actually happens there. I mean, I was there the way we were discussing and dissecting digital marketing lingua, right? You can join Resta community today to learn more about marketing, to come to meet other like-minded like you, sales professionals, marketing professionals, revenue leaders, and the like. So join Resta community by visiting restacommunity.com, and they'll be more than happy to welcome you. And that has been my time today. It's been a pleasure sharing this skill with you. We are going to come back to you next Saturday. We're not missing it. Next Saturday, we're going to send you another invite for the same session for next Saturday. I'd love to hand it over at this point to Jacinta. Jacinta, thank you for hosting us today. Back to you, please. Jacinta, with us. Thank you very much, Kingsley. Thank you very much, Miwa, for today's session. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We are going to come next week to discuss index and match, H lookup, X lookup. Okay? We are going to discuss all of that. I will personally take index and match, so look forward to that. Okay? I will personally take index and match, so I look forward to sharing that knowledge with you. There's some tricks up my sleeve when it comes to index and match. I look forward to sharing that with you. So invite your friends. So those who did not join today, invite them to take part in this session next Saturday. Thank you very much. Out to you, Jacinta.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, that was a very interesting session. Well, majority carries the vote, right? Because I was going to go for let's continue. I mean, I have all Saturday as long as this is as interesting as it is so far. So we just want to extend and say, I would just want to extend our regards and say thank you, Mr. Muyiwa. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This has really been very engaging. For part 2. So you cannot join part 1 and afford to miss part 2. So I'm looking forward to having everyone join us again next week, Saturday. Same time, I believe we'll communicate that. I've also listed the number of courses we have available, so that some people were asking in the comment section. Please feel free to also visit commander.academy/register to register for any of our courses. We look forward to seeing you again next week, Saturday. Thank you so much for your time. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
An email will come to you all very shortly about your experience today. Please feel free to share your feedback.
Actually, there's any practice, anything you can practice with the lookup and VLOOKUP.
Yes, I'm going to send that to you via email as well. We already have the email. We're going to send you the materials to use to practice this particular VLOOKUP and the rest. Okay, an email will coming to you later today. Please share your feedback. While we are sending the recording of this particular session to you, we will also be sharing the practice materials together with that. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
So if you want to learn the skill, please drop your name or your email in the chat box. We'll take it up from there and share how to join that particular skill training coming up. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure sharing this knowledge with you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you, Miwa.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof.